So, at the radio studio, James, we don't have, you know how old school studios, or just studios in general, like whenever you see them on TV and stuff, they have the room with the board, and then you have the room with the musician.
Yeah, I remember those.
Right?
It's old school.
And you got the window, right? Well, the new studios at my job doesn't have that. We're all kind of in our own little, in our own rooms and booths, and we have these TVs on the wall. You've seen them. You've actually
I've seen them before. Yeah.
So it was designed for us to be able to do like a FaceTime with the other studio. So in theory we have that window, but it's not a window, it's a screen.
Yeah.
So that never really worked out right. But what we can do is, because they're all Roku TVs, we can actually put up TV and watch TV in the studio, or like for news, right? If we put on a news station and something's going on, we can actually pot up that TV channel and like play the news station if we needed to.
That makes sense.
And KPRC2, the app on Roku, has a live stream thing on it, right? So you can live stream like certain areas of Houston. Really, it just shows like the highway, just different sections. Well, they added the Houston Zoo to the live stream list.
Oh,
and so you can live stream the giraffes, and you can live stream the elephants.
So you can just watch the zoo as you're working.
Yeah, you can just watch the zoo as you're working. And when I discovered this, I tried to do the elephants, but the camera's bad on the elephants. Like it's black and white, and the gradient and all the stuff is just whack. So I went to the giraffes. Giraffes look great. So now when I go to work in the morning, I put on the live stream of the giraffes. So as the sun comes up, I can just see these giraffes moseying around the zoo before anybody gets there. They're just hanging out.
Isn't that kind of invasion of privacy to the animals?
I mean, the animals don't know.
Okay.
So what's weird, though, is like if you ever been to the zoo, there's 4 giraffes.
Yep.
There's 4 giraffes, and there's 1 ostrich. And my thinking is that ostrich has to be very confused. Either he thinks he's the smallest ostrich, or he thinks he's the smallest giraffe.
Why would you say that? Because they're like in the same...
Yeah, because they live in the same space. I imagine he just thinks they're him, right? So he's probably wondering why the other ostriches are so tall.
Houston is so confusing. Because only we would have a zoo where you have an ostrich and a giraffe in the same facility of the area.
I'm pretty sure it's the only one. Because
so stupid.
I don't see anyone on screen, but I say all that to say this. It inspired me to go and play, like, you remember Zoo Tycoon?
No. Was that a game on PlayStation 2?
There were computer games. They have PlayStation versions, but like there was like Zoo Tycoon, Roller Coaster Tycoon.
I think I heard of Roller Coaster Tycoon.
Right. It's like simulation games where you can build your theme park.
Oh, kind of like, yeah. I did something like that with Jurassic Park when they had that on Game Boy Advance.
Yeah, you have kind of control over your park. So it made me want to go play Zoo Tycoon, because I played Zoo Tycoon a whole lot like back in the day. I used to be all about Zoo Tycoon. Well, I don't have Zoo Tycoon, but I have Jurassic World Evolution, which is just the Jurassic Park version of Zoo Tycoon. So that's what I've been doing lately, James, just playing this Jurassic World game, building my Jurassic Park.
Well, hopefully you're a whole lot more responsible than me, because I used to mess those things up, because I used to like build like restaurants next to the tracks and had dinosaurs roaming around.
Yeah, and then you just like open a fence or whatever. Yeah. So there's a sandbox mode that lets you do that, but the campaign mode is you go to different parks or different islands, and then the park is already started. You just have to kind of like keep building it out, and there's missions to kind of keep track of. Like there's different departments. There's like a science department, entertainment department, and a security department. And basically they'll give you contracts, and the contracts will be like, if entertainment would be, hey, build an arcade over here. A science department might be go dig up so many fossils, because a component in the game is that you can send expeditions out to go get fossils, and that's how you get a stronger genome DNA. That's how you get stronger. I'm trying to do layman's terms. That's how you get stronger DNA, so you can create better dinosaurs, right?
Yes, I never did. Oh, well, that's evolution. That's not surprising.
Yeah, it's kind of in depth in a way, and the security team, the security department's so They're so chaotic because it'll just be like, hey, make 2 dinosaurs and then make them fight.
Yeah, that I do remember.
Just like, I had that too. I'm trying to build a theme park here, sir. Like, but you have to keep it all balanced out because if you give one section too much attention, the other section will sabotage you, and it's been entertaining me.
Yeah, it's an entertaining game. I liked it. Yeah. I like playing what I played. So yeah, there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, so that's what I've been doing this week. What have you been doing this week?
Not playing Jurassic World Evolution.
No, apparently not.
No, nothing much. Writing out new things, new material that we're gonna have it's still our podcast, but it's gonna be for the On the Go podcast.
Yeah,
and it's supposed to come out in May. So I worked out a name for it so far. So
okay,
testing it out, see how it all sounds.
Nice.
Still trying to find some music for it. You know Sono. You know what Sono is, right?
A Sono?
Yeah, no, it's Sono. I think it's Sono or Sono. It's like this website that AI makes music.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it can make music for you.
Oh.
I don't want the lyrics because I heard the lyrics and the lyrics are trash.
Yeah.
Because they just say words. They're not actually putting anything together.
Oh.
Like they can say anything. They can say anything you want. Like Jacob and Khadijah. I can make a song about Jacob and Khadijah.
Yeah.
And it would, I could shape it into a rock song, R&B.
Yeah.
And I'll just put out words.
Does it do the instruments or does it just do the words?
It does instruments too.
Oh, okay.
Like it's like a real song.
I've been hearing about it lately.
Mm-hmm.
But I haven't looked at it yet. I don't. The AI stuff is, I don't know, kind of tricky for me. I don't want to play around with it too much. Well, but I've used it before.
It's pretty entertaining. It's pretty entertaining to say the least. Because you got to have like 50 credits. So I had like 50 credits. So I'm still fooling around with it. I don't know how to really use it the correct way.
Right.
Because like I said, I didn't really care for the words part because basically you don't have to write out the lyrics. You just plug in words.
I see.
And then it'll make a whole thing for you.
Right.
And then
well, it's kind of like ChatGPT. ChatGPT is like that. You can give it like a paragraph of what you want, and I mean, the more stuff you give it, the more it'll spit back out at you.
Yeah, and that's what because Richard showed me this website too as well that you do a text message, then the text message does like an AI song of what you just what you just wrote.
Interesting.
So like, what if you were angry and you wrote like a long paragraph? I guess that's like what 2 or 3 minutes. I want to say 2 or 3 minutes because depending on what the song is, it'll be a 2 minute or 3 minute song out of the paragraph you just wrote.
Yeah.
So I thought, it's kind of fooling around, stuff like that.
On the go, or on a cruise with Jacob and James.
Bahapa Holly Hula Girl.
I think the biggest piece of news that I've seen, and the internet won't stop showing me, is that they casted Keanu Reeves as Shadow the Hedgehog.
Yeah, I saw
in the Sonic 3 movie. Which my reaction to that was, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know how much you know about Sonic, or I don't know how much you know about Shadow the Hedgehog in general.
He sounds just like a Keanu Reeves.
Yeah, he sounds like Keanu Reeves sounds kind of like what Shadow can sound like. I used to play the Shadow the Hedgehog game a whole lot back in the day, and I know a lot of people make fun of it because it's like it gives you guns, but it was a fun game.
No, it was a nice game. I liked it.
It was a fun game. It had a lot of replayability, and that's what I loved about it because I think there's different paths you could take. You could be like neutral, evil, good, whatever, and depending on the routes you took, it was a different like story. There was like 400 different lines you could do apparently, and so I had made it my goal to like try to complete it, and I never completed it, but I did play the crap out of the game.
No, it was a good game. I liked that game.
Yeah, and the Shadow from that game
sounds just like Keanu Reeves.
It sounds similar to Keanu Reeves, so I can see Keanu Reeves being Shadow. I know I saw an article saying that like this is Keanu Reeves' first villain role in 8 years or whatever, which I don't really count Shadow as a villain. I don't think they're gonna do Knuckles the Echidna with Shadow, right? He's gonna start off as a bad guy, and then he's gonna flip, and then I think the real bad guy of this movie is probably gonna be Metal Sonic.
Oh, he's gonna be in here too?
I think so. That's my prediction because.
There's a lot of stuff going on.
That would make sense because you got Robotnik coming back.
Yep.
Like, why wouldn't I can see Shadow being Well, no, because they were experimenting on Shadow beforehand.
Mm-hmm.
He's not even a Robotnik thing. So I can see Robotnik maybe just having Metal Sonic, and then Shadow is probably an antagonist in the film, and then they kind of team up at the end. Apparently, like, I think Amy is supposed to be in this movie too, Amy Rose.
Yeah. Well, from what I heard, I know Dr. Robotnik, Jim Carrey is supposed to actually look like Dr. Eggman this time around.
Yeah, I saw something about that.
On CinemaCon. They went to because they showed some footage in CinemaCon.
Yeah, but we haven't, none of that was released yet, right?
Yeah, none of that's released.
So it's still kind of just hearsay, sort of.
Yeah, but I trust that.
Yeah.
It's CinemaCon.
It's reports, yeah.
I trust that. And they said, he kind of had the look that you would expect from a Dr. Eggman, which I'm very happy about.
Yeah.
So they said the whole thing, it was kind of funny because they did at least talking about Sonic and more about Jim Carrey. Mm-hmm. I think this is supposed to be the last movie for Jim Carrey.
Well, I mean, I think this is the only franchise Jim Carrey's doing. I don't think he was really doing movies before the first Sonic movie. Like, he was already kind of out, and then the Sonic thing came around, and I guess he just picked it up for whatever reason. And so, yeah, I can see. I mean, maybe as long as they keep making Sonic movies, he'll probably come back to do them. Mm-hmm. Because I know the creators had stated they want the Sonic movies to be like Marvel movie events almost.
Ooh, I hope not.
Yeah, I don't exactly know what that means. I don't know how far you can take the Sonic franchise outside of like the trilogy. And I know Paramount Plus is doing the Knuckles show.
The Knuckles show. That looks good, by the way.
Which when I first heard about it, I was actually kind of against it because I was like, oh no, you're branching out. And then I saw the trailer, and the trailer looked really good. Mm-hmm. It looked really good and fun. And I can't remember, is Idris Elba came back for that?
Yep.
Okay. So that one looked good.
Yeah, that looked real good. They bring back all the voices for that one, which I like. And what you call it? The cinematography looks good. It looks like the movie. It doesn't look like it's kind of a step down from the movie. It looks like exactly like the movie.
Yeah, and that comes out later this month, April 26th.
I will be watching.
Well, you can tell me about it because I just canceled my Paramount Plus.
Ah, nice. Well, they got other websites you can go to watch it.
Oh yeah, I'm sure.
So
I mean, I'll see it eventually, and as long as it's not like detrimental to Sonic 3.
No.
Probably.
And I'm pretty sure they're gonna give Shadow his own show eventually.
Oh yeah, you know what? You're probably right about that because a lot of people like Shadow.
I see that. There's a lot of Shadow fans.
Yeah.
And a lot of people like Keanu Reeves, so that works out too.
Yeah.
And I loved him in Toy Story as Kick, wasn't that Kaboom?
Oh yeah, Kick Kaboom or something like that. Yeah.
I loved him in there.
Yeah.
He's really. I think he did another cartoon voice too.
He probably has. Let's look it up.
If I'm not mistaken. So he has a good voice for cartoons. Kick Kaboom had me rolling. Like he was the best part of Toy Story 3. Well, I'm sorry, Toy Story 4? He was the best part of that.
Yeah, it was Toy Story 4.
Mm-hmm. He was great in that movie.
Keanu Reeves. Oh, Cyberpunk 2077.
He did do that.
I don't know how big of a character was he in that one though?
I don't know, but I did hear he was voicing there.
I think he just did like a trailer, but let me see. Cyberpunk. Oh, DC League of Super Pets. He was Batman.
Yeah, he was. I forgot about that one too.
He was in the SpongeBob Sponge on the Run movie, which I think that was just like his face.
Yeah, it was just his
face. Photoshopped across the tumbleweed or something. Toy Story 4. Oh yeah, that Replicas movie. Have you seen that movie?
No.
That one was kind of crazy. He plays like some scientist who cloned his dead wife or dead kid or something. Damn. And it gets out of hand. I remember Khadija and I saw it at a hotel, like the last half of it.
Yeah.
We got like sucked into it too. We were like, oh, we need to find the first half or whatever, because I think we had to leave.
I know that movie Knock Knock. We let those girls in. Which very stupid logic to a movie. I was like, only Keanu Reeves let in two young girls. There's no way in hell I would have done that. No, I know a lot of people like, oh yes, you would. Nah, no, I wouldn't. Because you would think he would be a setup.
Yeah, and the Animatrix. He actually hasn't done a lot of like voice roles. He's not really voice acting either. He's just doing the Keanu Reeves. Yeah, he's just talking in his own voice. Not really voice acting. I don't think he'd do it. I don't think he's going to do a voice for Shadow.
No, he's going to talk.
They sound so similar. If anything, that might pitch him a little higher, but we'll see.
As long as he don't sound like Surfer Dude Keanu Reeves.
Nah, he barely sounds like that in real life now.
Yeah, I'm glad, because that was just too. John Wick, he did kind of sound like that a little bit.
Did he?
Yeah, that last John Wick, I was like, God damn.
I haven't seen John Wick in a very long time.
I was like, ooh wee, man. He's a good actor, though. I like him. I like him a lot.
Yeah, he's good.
On the go or on the run with Jacob and James.
All right, James, we both got to see a movie this weekend.
Well, we saw it at different times, but yeah.
Yeah, we saw it separately, but in a way, we saw it together.
I don't like how that sounded, but okay.
So we're going to talk about the Civil War movie.
Yep, Civil War.
When did you see it?
I saw it Saturday.
Okay, I saw it on a Sunday. So what did you think of Civil War?
Well, starting out, you got Kirsten Dunst. I haven't seen a lot of movies that she's done lately because I really don't keep track of her that much. I'll be honest with you, other than Spider-Man and Interview with the Vampire, I don't really keep track of her. But the trailer was kind of misleading from the jump.
I thought so too, because it's definitely not action-packed like one would think a Civil War movie would be.
Yeah. And, it's it's got to be in IMAX. It's got to be in all these different things.
I don't think it needed to be in IMAX after seeing it.
Nah. Maybe the last 30 minutes of it was IMAX worthy, but else about it.
Yeah.
All the rest of it didn't need to be in IMAX. It is gripping. It is very good actors. The problem that I have with this movie is it's very, very vague. And it's coming from a point of the photographer's view, which I have no problem with. Because most of the time you see these movies, it's always coming from the military perspective.
Right.
But this is coming from the photographer standpoint. And it shows you wartime with these photographers. Because in life, we don't really take into account what the photographers go through when they see these different things going on.
Or the war journalists. All the stuff they see.
Yeah, we don't ever take into account. So I did like the aspect of that. I thought the movie was very, it tried to be very vague and very neutral.
It was a very apolitical movie.
It was very, very, very apolitical, which apolitical can be fine because you don't want to offend anybody. But when you're doing something as such as this, it's okay to sprinkle in a little bit of story so that way people know what's going on and you just don't leave anything out, because it makes the story that much more riveting, because you're trying to see, they're trying to get to this point to expose the president.
Not even exposed. They want to get an interview.
They want to get an interview with him. We don't know why. They never tell you why they want the interview with him.
They say why. It's because it's to the point. So some minor spoilers here, I suppose. But
that's fine.
Basically, this movie takes place right before the end of the Civil War.
Yeah.
And everything's kind of coming to a head. And our main characters, Kirsten Dunst and Wagner Moura, they play Lee and Joel. Mm-hmm. I didn't realize his name was Joel. That's funny. I think Joel's a journalist, Lee is a war photographer, and basically they want to get to DC so they can get the interview with the president, because it's everything's about to fall. He's about to basically get taken over by the Western Federation in this movie, which is Texas and California. They teamed up.
Two states that you would never think they ever see team up.
Right. Well, for a work of fiction, it makes sense, I guess. But yeah, they want to get the last interview with the president if they can. And they had another journalist friend who kind of tags along with them.
Yeah, what's his name?
I don't even see him on this cast. He was in most of that movie.
Yeah, I really.
Stephen McKinley.
Yep,
Stephen McKinley Henderson. Yeah,
that guy.
Yeah, he played this elder journalist who tags along with them, and he was telling them at the beginning of the movie, they're like, "Look, they're shooting journalists on site in DC. Like, you can't go there."
Which makes sense.
Yeah, and it makes sense. And Lee and Joel just say, "Hey, we're gonna try to get there the best we can." Which, honestly, it makes sense, right? Because in a war-torn country, your own war-torn country, it's not quite apocalyptic, but certainly things are looking grim. So it's also just one of those things where it's like, look, if we die trying to get there, I'd rather die doing that than dying in some kind of war.
Yep.
I mean, they're already...
Because you're going right face into the war.
Yeah, it's definitely like a thought process of there's nothing to lose at this point, right? Yep. Like, hey, look, either we get there and we don't get there in time, or we get there and we do get the interview, or we get there and we die. At this point, it's whatever. It's a Hail Mary, That's their reasoning. They did say it at the beginning of the film. And
they also invited the young lady... Well, Joel invited the young lady to come.
Yeah, there's a younger photographer that tags along with, which I did like. I liked that you had the newbie like war photographer, war journalist that kind of wanted to get the experience, and then you had, these seasoned journalists, and then you had the elder guy who's just really kind of looking for his last ride, right? I mean, he claimed he wanted to go to wherever the front lines were, and they were supposed to drop him off, but circumstances happened. But I did like that you had the different age groups. So
and it also showed Kirsten Dunst going through all these different things and what she's seen over time and all that. So I like that as well.
Yeah. But I mean, overall, I did enjoy the movie. I really liked, I don't know if I really liked, but I kind of did like the apolitical nature of it, because it felt very much just like whatever reasoning, whatever you want to like put in this movie, that's why they're fighting, right? It kind of leaves it up to your own interpretation. I do somewhat agree that like there could have been a little bit more of a nod or a hint or whatever, because I mean, you really don't know who the good guys or the bad guys are in this film. Like you don't know if maybe the president did do something really screwed up, and that's why Texas and California banded together out of all states, or maybe Texas and California just agreed on something and they decided to succeed. We don't really know. You're right. A little bit more lore.
Yeah, that's all. Nice. And that's all I'm asking for. Just a little bit of lore, and that kind of took me out of the film a little bit. A little bit of slow pacing.
Very slow pacing. I will say that all the scenes very tense.
Yeah, every scene was intense.
I feel like the whole movie was tense. There was
especially from the beginning.
Yeah, there's a specific scene where they do a close up on the elder journalist guy, Stephen McKinley. They do a close up on his face, like he's talking to Kirsten Dunst. They do a close up on his face, and it made me nervous for his character, because it definitely felt like one of those scenes where like someone's talking and then a bullet comes out of
nowhere.
I was so expecting it, but I mean it didn't happen. But it was just one of those like really upsetting close-ups that they do. And that's why they do close-ups in like film and stuff. It's supposed to make you uncomfortable.
And it was also, honestly, this whole movie was a road trip movie. If it really being totally honest. And I've seen road trip movies be a whole lot better than this. But from a technical standpoint, I love the last 30 minutes of the film. Mm-hmm. I thought that was amazing. Acting standpoint, also. Like I said, I'm not saying the movie's bad. It's not. Yeah. The movie's not bad, but I don't lack of story, lack of ideas, because I've seen some road trip movies in this type of way before that been done a whole lot better before.
Yeah.
So that didn't move me at all. I did like my guy Kirsten Dunst's husband,
Jesse Lee Plemons.
Yeah, who always
Jesse
plays.
Plemons? I don't know why I gave him a Lee there.
I thought that was his middle name for real.
I think it's just Jesse Plemons. I don't know where I got the Lee from.
Who Jesse Plemons always plays just the most scariest dude on planet Earth.
Yeah.
And the 5 minutes with him was great. I loved it.
Oh, apparently his character was a late addition. They added him like 5 days before filming.
Damn.
So that was a whole added scene.
Oh, that was a good scene, because the theater that I was in.
Well, that's the scene they used to sell the movie.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's the whole reason they got you in the theater for it. And you're kind of expecting this more like war-torn movie, but that wasn't the case. It was very much a drama.
Yeah,
and you said like a dramatic, like kind of road trip movie. And so I want to get into some spoilers here.
This is an on-the-go spoiler alert. You have now been alerted.
Thank you, spoiler bot. The last 30 minutes of the movie, James, when they're storming the White House.
Yep.
Kirsten Dunst's character gets freaking killed off.
Yep, because she goes right in the middle.
In the dumbest way. And I'm upset that they used the little girl as the catalyst for that. Because they made it seem like she was irresponsible, which that was an irresponsible thing to do.
It was.
No lie. But the whole movie, they were all irresponsible. They were in the gunfire every time they were like taking photos of like the action and stuff.
It's just what it is when you're doing war photography.
Right. And there were action scenes in this movie. Don't get us wrong. There were action sequences. Like they were very much in the crap sometimes. Like they were to the point where I'm like, how real is this based off of? Is this what war photographers used to do? Were they really next to the gunfire like that? Like what are the rules with shooting the press, because you're right there in the battle? How are you?
And I'm sure that you didn't have military telling you, "Hey, get back."
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure they talk. I'm pretty sure they were worried about their own people.
To a certain extent, I'd be very annoyed if I'm trying to have a gunfight and there's photographers right next to me that I have to protect because they're civilians. Like,
exactly.
What are we doing here?
Also, too, on that note, Joel. So Joel is like a journalist. He's not a photographer.
He's a journalist.
So what was he planning on writing down? Because he had no pad, no nothing. He's gonna go on word of mouth on what the president said before he dies.
I mean, the only thing the president said was, "Don't let them kill me."
It's like,
and you had like 6 witnesses.
You easily could have just said that where you was, because he had no microphone, no nothing. It's like he honestly served no purpose.
I mean, I think at that point he was just pissed because his friend got killed, right?
A little bit.
And so I think at that point it's just like, I got to get a quote because that's why we came here. You know what I mean? It's like that's why we came here. Let me get this quote.
Well, I'm definitely gonna believe Joel now.
Yeah,
I'm
right?
definitely gonna believe that quote.
But no, it just annoyed me. They used Jesse. That's the little girl's name.
Yep,
it annoyed me that they used Jesse as the catalyst for that, because you would like see, if you only saw that scene, you would have thought like that whole movie Jesse was like doing dangerous stuff, almost getting killed. Which, to a certain extent, she was. They all were.
They all were. But that's how it is when you're doing war photography. You're
right.
in the midst of war.
Right. And, you know, there were a couple scenes where I think earlier in the film, they come across a gas station and Jesse goes to take a photo of something behind the gas station. And one of the guys guarding the gas station, like, kind of went after her. And you're thinking, like, okay, something's about to go down. This is where like those really tense, dramatic scenes keep coming up, because that's the whole movie. Like, you think something's about to go down, but then it doesn't, right? Like everything's kind of chill. But you have that scene, and then you have a scene later in the movie where they meet up with another journalist guy, and they kind of do like a car hop thing.
Which I thought was so stupid.
It was very stupid. It was
just something to pass time.
Yeah.
That scene was totally not needed.
It was to set up the Jesse Plemons scene. Which honestly, if it was a last minute addition, that's probably why it was kind of the way it was, right? Yeah. Like, hey, we need they had to set up a catalyst for that. So they had that scene, but at that point, they felt safe. It's not like she was doing reckless stuff the whole movie. You know what I mean? It just didn't vibe with the rest of all the setup.
She wasn't that little girl, that naive girl that you see in every movie where everything she does, she's messing up stuff.
Yeah, and that wasn't the case.
Yeah.
Really, if anything, it was just her being exposed to the reality of war. Because I mean, she saw a lot of crap. Like, she had to deal with that on a daily basis in this movie. You know, they show her dealing with that. They show her reacting to everything, and like you can see how it affects her.
Well, yeah, Kirsten Dunst's character, she ends up suffering PTSD almost.
Oh yeah, they do a huge flashback of like all the crap she's seen, which I don't know if it's all from that Civil War. I think it's just like her career in general, right? But that was intense too. Like the very beginning of the movie, like they do a good job of showing you, but like, no, this woman's seen some stuff. Like they've all seen some stuff. They've all been through some things. And so it just annoyed me they used her as a catalyst. I'm like, why do you have to do that? It kind of leaves a bad taste in my mouth.
It was cool. It was cool to see like the guys in like with the Hawaiian shirts on. With guns.
What was up with that? Like,
well, see, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah,
that's what I'm talking about when you don't have a great story,
right? Because
you just got guys in Hawaiian shirts shooting.
Because everybody else they came across had some sort of war uniform on, and you know the friend of mine that I saw it with, he said that you couldn't tell who was who. Like who was on what side or what, and I made the comment. I was like, well, maybe that's part of the point, right? Is like they're all essentially Americans. We don't have a separate uniform.
I mean, like I said, that story lacking. That really was a big holdup. That really was a big holdup for me.
Yeah.
You can kind of guess a little bit what they were fighting for. Well, because I did see a guy with different colored hair, and he did have his fingernails colored. So I'm like, maybe. I'm not going to throw that out there, but maybe.
But see, they didn't say they were with any side or the other. Because remember, Joel was like, "Hey, what side are you on? Are you WF? Are you these guys?" And they're like, "That guy's trying to kill us. We're trying to kill him." That's kind of what's going on here.
And see, that just takes me out of the whole damn story.
Yeah,
that the whole road trip. I've seen it all before. You go into a different town, they look at you like you're crazy.
Yeah.
They want to kill you. Well, they don't want to kill you, but they're very suspicious of you. It's like every scene that was in the movie, you could pretty much copy and paste from every road trip movie.
Yeah.
If it would have helped, if you just could have put in just a little bit of story. And like I say, it's okay to be apolitical. That's fine.
Mm-hmm.
But whoever you're catering this movie to or not catering this movie to, they're gonna find stripe into the movie anyway.
I think that's the point.
Like,
I really think it's just like, yeah, whatever you feel like it is, whatever you want to put to it, that's what it is.
But that's kind of even more reason to just at least add a little bit of story.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't sit in a movie theater for an hour and 45 minutes just to watch people in a road trip.
Yeah,
And in my opinion, this movie is like it's a matinee, because that's exactly what I saw it as. It's a matinee. It is a real matinee movie.
Yeah, I saw it in IMAX, and it's definitely not an IMAX film.
It's not. It's not even a 4DX film. I don't know why in the hell this was in 4DX.
Oh, that would be such a boring 4DX movie. Because there really is a lot of dialogue in this movie. For a movie titled Civil War, there really is just like a lot of talking, a lot of reflecting, a lot of just,
I thought the songs are very good that were used in the movie.
Oh, yeah.
I did like that. The soundtrack is very nice.
Yeah, the soundtrack is nice because it also worked as a juxtaposition to what just happened.
Yep.
It was always after like some really messed up thing,
Mm-hmm.
like a messed up scene, someone died, someone shot somebody, like horrible stuff happens, and then you have this like happy song come on. So it was cool how he used it as a opposite of what's happening on screen.
So I did love that.
Yeah. I mean, all in all, I did enjoy it. It surprised me because, again, I was just kind of surprised it wasn't as political as as I thought it would be, and I kind of liked that it wasn't. I liked that, you can kind of add your own story to this, but I get where you're coming from. You know what I mean?
Just add a little story, just a little context into what's going on, what the stakes are, and that's all I ask.
Yeah. So. Well, that's our review for Civil War. That was our Civil War. Yeah.
That's it.
Do you think it's better than Captain America Civil War?
No.
Oh, come on.
No.
I mean, what are you talking about? The acting's not better?
Yeah, of course the acting's going to be better because you have credible actors, even though Robert Downey Jr. is a hell of an actor. But I thought the story for Civil War Captain America is a lot better, if you really want to be honest with you.
Okay.
That's a whole, and it is a political film. It is more a political film, and it gives you some type of story of why both of these sides, and also too, Civil War works going into the previous Marvel films.
Yeah.
So it does a good setup as well.
Maybe that's what this was lacking. Maybe they should have just done like a setup, like how everything popped off, and then a time skip to the current. That would have been what, an extra 5 minutes, maybe. Maybe. I mean,
because usually A24 movies are usually like 2 hour, 3 hour movies anyway.
Yeah. So you add like an extra 5-10 minutes at the beginning to show like things popping off, kind of just the intensity of like when the Civil War started and how that was.
Who's the director again?
Alex Garland.
Alex Garland. He's done what movies? Because
he's done a Godzilla movie, I believe.
Yeah, he did. He has a very good eye. Cause that's why I wanted to give him a compliment for. I know I've been kind of pissing on him a little bit because of this movie, but I give him credit that he does very good with 28 Days Later. He does Dread. He does good with these type of movies. He really does. Like Wartime.
He did that Men movie.
Yeah. Men was interesting.
I never got to see it. It did look interesting.
Yeah, it was an interesting film. I like that film.
Oh, he didn't. I don't think he did a Godzilla movie. Never mind. I'm thinking of somebody else. He did Annihilation, Ex Machina.
Ooh, I did not like Annihilation.
He did a bunch of Devil May Cry.
Yeah.
Oh, he directed like one of the games. That's interesting. Or no, he wrote on the game. He was writer on Devil May Cry games.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that. Interesting games.
Yeah, so we had Dread, Batman Black and White, which was like a mini-series thing at some point.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, so he's done some stuff. He wrote a book.
28 Days Later.
Oh, he's 28 Days Later.
Yep, 28 Days Later. I thought I knew his name. I was like, wait a minute, didn't he do 28 Days Later? Yeah. Which I love 28 Days Later.
Yeah.
And I did like Dread. I know a lot of people didn't like Dread, but it was according more to the comic books. So I did enjoy that. He has a very good eye for war cinematography.
Yeah.
And war movies. And I think that he should do more war movies. Just if you can, just stay away from not having stories in movies.
I mean, did he write this movie? I think he wrote it.
Yeah, he wrote it too.
Interesting. Yeah. It is what it is. It entertained me.
Yeah, that's the main thing.
At the end of the day, that's all it's about. As long as it entertains, right? So, well, hey, I think that's all we got, right?
Yep.
So, That's all we got today, guys. Short episode, short, sweet, to the point. If you want to contact us, you can email us at onthegopod2023@gmail.com. You can find us on Instagram, On The Go with Jacob and James, all one word. You can find us individually on Instagram at jacobdantone.audio and also
at James9794.
And then you can find us on YouTube as well, On The Go, Jacob and James. Again, it's all one word. We put the podcast up there. And for whatever reason, you don't want to listen to Spotify or YouTube or whatever other podcast player. Spotify or YouTube.
Yeah, I was about to say, I was like, you don't want to listen to YouTube
If you don't want to listen to any other podcast player and you get your podcast on YouTube, we're on YouTube. That's where you can find us as well. So without further ado, that's it. I'm on the go. James is on the go. We're all on the go.
Peace.
Bye.
If you enjoyed today's episode, please follow and share the podcast with your friends and family units. If by chance you disliked the episode, then please share the On The Go show with your most hated enemies. Thank you and enjoy your day.